Hey world, what up? Morning Kiki here on Undisputed, the Shannon Sharp and Mr. Skip Bayless' show on FS1 Sports. Topic for discussion on today's think LeBron James is really playing better because of Kevin Durant is absent from the 2020 NBA season and playoffs. I really want to hear what Skip Bayless says about this. I can really tell that Skip Bayless is going to say yes, and he's going to bring up the 2017 and 2018 NBA Finals to where Kevin Durant averaged over around 33 points per game, racked up two Finals MVPs, and pretty much beat LeBron James with 8 wins and only one loss when it came down to both of those Finals appearances. Mr. Shannon Sharp, he's gonna back up his boo thing, LeBron James, buddy, number one fan with. But I'll give my take and we'll kind of jump into here. But no, sir. LeBron James isn't even thinking about Kevin Durant. The whole topic of a discussion of pretty much the narrative for the 2020 season wasn't even Kevin Durant if he were healthy. But basically, it would have been on Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers and Giannis with the Bucks. Because either way, Kevin Durant would have joined the Brooklyn Nets. And most likely, the Brooklyn Nets would have been wiped out in the second round or in the conference finals if Kevin Durant were somewhat healthy or were healthy. The Brooklyn Nets fired their head coach Kenny Atkinson, and they need to get their roster up and together. It's their first season. They don't even have the team designed for Kyrie and KD. And KD's hurt for this season, so we're really going to see the next falling season in 2021 to where the team's going to be complemented with their head coach and the supporting cast for Kyrie and Kevin Durant. And again, LeBron's not even worried about Kevin Durant this season. He brought Anthony Davis on his team. They got a new head coach with Frank Vogel and a bunch of role players supporting casts, and the Lakers were the best team in the Western Conference. The only team they were focusing on and keeping their eye out was the Los Angeles Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, who just came back from winning Finals MVP and a championship. And the Clippers were favorites among media outlets and everyone else. In the Eastern Conference, you had a red-hot Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Milwaukee Bucks, who were trending to 70 wins, and Giannis was going to rack up his second regular season MVP, and the Bucks were clicking. But now the playoffs hit. Both the Bucks and the Clippers got bounced in the second round in good fashion against the Denver Nuggets' comeback, and then the Miami Heat's just demolition from the start. So overall, LeBron is not worried about Kevin Durant. In 2021, the Lakers are going to have a better chance of winning the finals than the Brooklyn Nets. But I don't want to jump too much off the gun. Let's jump into here.
Shannon, is there any truth to this?
No, Skip. Man, the people need to stop this. KD was never a problem with LeBron until he joined the Golden State Warriors. LeBron was 17-5.
Bingo. Listen, I know Shannon Sharp is very biased for LeBron, but whenever it comes to these kind of topics and discussion of stats he'll pull up against Kevin Durant and LeBron James, he's going to be on point. So kind of hear what he says here. But yes, LeBron James, when he was on the Cavaliers, the first stint, the Miami Heat, and then let alone the second stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he was pretty much waxing Kevin Durant and the Oklahoma City Thunder year after year. LeBron James beat him in the 2012 NBA Finals. Skip Bayless is going to say pretty much, I guess he's going to say, as Kevin Durant was young, he was a puppy. No, sir. It was his fourth season. Kevin Durant was, for the last two seasons, top three in NBA and MVP voting. And Kevin Durant, his third and fourth season, he was the second greatest player in the world behind LeBron James. And he continued to be the second best player in the world. We would see a bunch of commercials on ESPN that Kevin Durant would be number two, and that's really what motivated and drive him to pretty much beat LeBron James, which never occurred. And again, LeBron was pretty much, I think Shannon went over the number. I think LeBron was around 15-4 all time against Kevin Durant. But then Kevin Durant joined the Golden State Warriors, who, number one, did not need him to win a championship, and now Steph Curry's kingdom. But a lot of two-dimensional NBA fans and thinkers, they can't correlate that. The Warriors did not need Kevin Durant to win a championship. They were already an automatic dynasty. I know they choked a 3-1 series lead, but the thing is they were demolishing the Cleveland Cavaliers in those finals. But then, all of a sudden, they just dropped 35 to 40% of what they usually do. I personally think, this is me, I don't want to get too out of topic. I personally think that there's some scripting or rigging in the NBA. I knew this was designed for the Cavaliers to win the championship 2016. And you can see, go look at Steph Curry's body language and the rest of the team, but mostly on Steph Curry. He did not give a you-know-what. He did not even really try out there. Lackadaisical passes, turnovers, ejections. But you guys go check out Game 5, 6, and 7 when it came down to it. But back on Kevin Durant, even though he won those 2 championships with the Warriors, clearly they already had a dynasty. They didn't need KD. The Golden State Warriors made the NBA Finals without Kevin Durant in 2019. And you guys can have your debates if they would have lost against the Raptors or not with KD. All I know is this. Klay Thompson was out for Game 3, and he tore his ACL in Game 6. And the Warriors were projecting to win that series in 7 games. So I'm going to leave it at that. Basically what I'm saying is LeBron James is not worried about Kevin Durant. The only time he was worried about him, he wasn't worried about Kevin Durant, but he was worried about the Golden State Warriors. Entering 2017, even if the Warriors never picked up Kevin Durant, the Golden State Warriors were still favorites to win the 2017 championship by far. By far. The Cavaliers barely squeaked out a chip in 2016, but in 2017, they were going to destroy the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this was before they got Kevin Durant. Once they got Kevin Durant, it was no question to where the NBA was pretty much ruined. And we saw the Golden State Warriors in 2017. They had a record of 16-1 in the playoffs, including the finals.
Whether he was in Miami or whether he was in Cleveland. That's fact. KD became a problem when he joined an MVP unanimous, arguably one of the 2 or 3 greatest shooting guards, the 2 best shooters on a team at one particular time in NBA history, and Draymond Green. That's when KD became a problem. That's not to diminish KD, but to say, oh, LeBron, Skip, things happen. You remember in the 91 finals when James Worthy and Byron Scott blew their hamstrings out? I guess Michael Jordan felt really confident that he was going to win the title that year. Or what about when Kevin Love and Kyrie? I guess Steph Curry felt real confident. Man, stop it, Skip. Things like this happen. Injuries happen. I don't think LeBron went to the sea, oh, man, this is my year. Ooh, I better get this thing done now because KD coming back next year. You don't think like that.
Well, I agree with you, but what I will say is LeBron should be aware that the Brooklyn Nets will be a contender to win the championship. Not saying they will, but they're going to be a contender up there. The Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie and KD in 2021. And for this season, for 2020, Kevin Durant's out for the rest of the season, so the Brooklyn Nets are not in the picture. The Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were pretty much out for the whole season, here or there, and they're out for the picture for 2020. So if you're LeBron, you got to be aware that these 2 top contending teams, who most likely are going to be in the conference finals next season, are going to be back, and they're not part of the picture for 2020. So if you're LeBron, it's more open winning a championship. Plus now you got the Clippers and the Milwaukee Bucks bounced in the second round. If you're LeBron James, I've always said the Lakers would win the championship. This pretty much makes it even more evident and clear for anyone else out there. You only got the Denver Nuggets, the Celtics, and the Miami Heat in the picture. There's no true superstars in any of those teams. No one with finals experience. And if you're LeBron and AD, you're going to rack up the championship for LA easily. Now, when 2021 comes along, there's going to be around 8 or 9 teams that are really going to be in that contention stage. 2021, I don't think people realize how stacked it's going to be for both the Eastern and Western Conference. Let me kind of go through it. In the West, you're going to have the Lakers, who pretty much are going to win the championship. They're going to be reloaded. Pretty much, I think they'll have a new team with AD and LeBron because you have a bunch of one-year deals. You're going to have the Clippers, who, with Paul George and Kawhi, they're going to want vengeance. A storyline's on them, so let's see if they can make the conference finals. You're going to have the Denver Nuggets, who are red hot with a bunch of young cats. You're going to have the Utah Jazz. You're going to have the Houston Rockets with James Harden and Russell Westbrook if they go for a second stint. You're going to have the Golden State Warriors come back with the healthy Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond. They're going to be back on their 2015 tie flow. And then you're going to have, there's other Western Conference teams out there as well you have to give respect to, even though they're younger. In the Eastern Conference, you're going to have the Milwaukee Bucks, who are pretty much going to want vengeance. Giannis is going to be on his last contract year with them, so highly pressured for them to make the finals or the conference finals or somewhere in that picture. You're now the Brooklyn Nets, who are now healthy with Kyrie and KD. We expect them to make the conference finals. We're going to have the Boston Celtics rejuvenated. We got to see how they play out here, if they're going to make the finals or conference finals. But for this season, they're always going to be in that picture with Jason Tatum getting better. You're going to have the Philadelphia 76ers with Ben Simmons and possibly Joel Embiid still on the team. They get better every single season. The Miami Heat, I didn't even mention them. They're probably going to make the finals. They're going to be in that picture. And then so on and so forth. A lot of very respectable teams, a lot of contenders. But basically the 2020 season is pretty much open for the Lakers to win the championship without a true threat in the conference finals or the NBA finals.
You just think, hey, this is an opportunity for me. I know what I have. I got AD. Obviously, Skip, AD is new. You got to try to integrate him. Frank Vogel, new head coach. They got new pieces also. But to just think, oh, KD, that's why LeBron is feeling confident. LeBron is feeling confident because he's immensely talented. He knows the work that he puts into this. And so he says, you know what? With my God-given ability, the work that I put in, I should be able to take that to the court and capitalize on it. He's not thinking about KD, just like KD is not thinking about LeBron now. KD's like, I'm going to make sure this Achilles is healthy. Commissioner Silver, Adam Silver says they're thinking something around January 2020, and they're looking to play a full complement of games, 82. So
Kevin Durant is still worried about his happiness. He's been chasing that for the last couple of years or so. That's why he elected to leave the Warriors, because he had too much criticism. He knew deep in his heart that's not what he liked. He didn't like that team. He didn't like the results of him winning the championship, but he still had backlash. And he understood what we thought when he originally joined the team. So, I mean, that's on Kevin Durant. I hope for the best for him in Brooklyn. I'm actually excited to see the Brooklyn Nets. I think that's actually going to be a team with him and Kyrie, to where they're designed to pretty much play iso ball. You can put them in a team system, but that's not what they really like. KD had some struggles. He had some conflicts whenever it came down to playing in Golden State in that team system. And he even mentioned in an interview whenever he left that he didn't like Steve Kerr. He didn't like playing in the offensive system. And that's why he joined up with his buddy, Kyrie Irving. That's why they fired Kenny Atkinson. That's why they're going to let go some of these young cats and make some trades. They're just pretty much going to put 3-and-D players around these two guys. So everyone just watch KD and Kyrie just dance for a couple of seconds, and they'll shoot contested shots. And they're just street ball players. That's how they usually play. So, I mean, let them play how they got to play. So we're definitely going to see more of a Oklahoma City Thunder Kevin Durant back in the picture, which I'm excited to see. And Kyrie, he's going to be back as a second option on a team. And that pretty much complements his whole career, what he needs to be as.
Whole bunch of, man, this is ridiculous. I don't get it. Everybody tries to take their shot at LeBron. Oh, he's feeling real confident. When has LeBron not felt confident?
When he had to play the Spurs every year?
He had to play.
Oh, man, Skip. Oh, my goodness.
When? He felt real good.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah.
When Ray Allen saved him?
Oh, my goodness. There you go with that.
Well, he got blown off the floor by a record finals margin by the Spurs. You think he's feeling real confident that year? I don't.
Yeah, that was embarrassing for LeBron James. I mean, being in your prime at 29 years of age, winning back-to-back finals, and you get blown out by a team that their core three is around 36 to 38 years of age with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili. I mean, that's embarrassing. Then you had Kawhi Leonard win Finals MVP, who's the small forward on the other team, on the Spurs. And you get bounced in 5 games. I mean, those 2 games when Miami played at home in Game 3 and Game 4, they got blown out by like 20 to 30 points each of those games, and those were early. And no adjustments were made on Eric Spoelstra's side with the team. And, I mean, it looked like LeBron was just mentally checked out. I mean, Dwayne Wade had his knee problems. He was getting old. There just didn't seem any motivation or desire on the Miami Heat side of things. Now, they did look motivated and wanting to win a championship when they came through against the Eastern Conference. They played great. They played top-notch, one of the best Miami Heat teams of all time. It was in 2014 in the playoffs, but when they went into the finals, it just went down from there. The Spurs had them on check.
And so he went into the season, said, man, whew, after they had just beat the Spurs, I sure hope I don't face the Spurs.
This is my point of view, and I called it a mismatch and a joke. And it should have been, you know it, and I know it. And then Damian got hurt, and he was gone for the last couple of games.
Well, Damian Lillard was hurt right before Game 5. So the Lakers were up 3-1 as it came down to it. The Los Angeles Lakers were still going to defeat the Portland Trail Blazers, no doubt about it. Now, a lot of cats said ever since the Lakers lost Game 1, they thought the Blazers, actually even before that, the game, a lot of people were saying on TV that the Lakers could lose to the Portland Trail Blazers, rada, rada, rada. I mean, that's just embarrassing. A lot of fans and TV pundits just live in the moment. I'm not going to talk about that, but I had the Lakers winning that series against the Blazers in 6. They got it done in 5, which is very impressive. They kicked it on their gear. But no, sir, LeBron James was not scared of a Damian Lillard 8-seed team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so then here comes Houston. Houston wins Game 1. And I'm
Yes.
thinking this is going to be a battle.
Yeah.
And then it's 1-1, and Mike D'Antoni in the off day talks about, hey, Daniel House is as improved as any player in the league. He has become one of the better players in the league, said Mike D'Antoni a few hours before the bubble burst. And you know what happened in his room up in the hotel. And that was the end of him, and that was the end of the...
Homeboy Daniel House brought in he brought in a chick out of the bubble, brought her in, and allegedly she went into Tyson Chandler's room and his room. And I believe Tyson Chandler and Daniel House were both married with a wife and kids. Jeez.
The Rockets, easiest path ever to a ring.
Stop this, Skip.
Then here comes...
No, sir, Mr. Skip Bayless. LeBron James going against the Portland Trail Blazers as an 8 seed, and then in the second round, a 4 seed of the Houston Rockets. That's one of the toughest first and second round matchups, number 1 ever on LeBron's career, but number 2 for any player. The Portland Trail Blazers were one of the best 8 seeds I've seen in a long time, and that team probably should have been a 4th or 5th seed in the beginning of the season, but they had a bunch of injuries. And you had Damian Lillard, who's a star out there, with CJ McCollum. You got your bigs back. That's why I had the Lakers were to win in 6, but Lakers did their business. The Houston Rockets, a lot of cats were kind of saying they could win the championship, especially in the bubble. You have a superstar in James Harden, and you have a star player in Russell Westbrook, 2 former MVPs who are pretty much kind of still in their prime. I think Russell Westbrook has left his prime, but he's still kind of 85% to where he was. But the Houston Rockets were dangerous out there, so I don't want to hear this from Mr. Skip Bayless. For LeBron, I thought he would have, if he were to win this championship all through, I thought he would have beaten the Blazers, Rockets, Clippers, and Bucks. Now, that would have been the most impressive 4 series of superstar teams or superstar players with their teams through a playoff run. Kind of like Dirk in 2011 when he beat against the Blazers with Brandon Roy. You beat the Kobe Bryant Lakers. You beat the Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden Thunder. Then you beat the Miami Heat Big 3. But no, I don't want to hear that from Skip Bayless. He's being petty.
The Nuggets, and they're down 3-1 to Kawhi Leonard, one of the 2 men who can be kryptonite to LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard's team.
Skippy beat him one time.
But they had 16-point lead, a 19-point lead, and a 12-point lead in 3 straight closeouts.
So how mentally tough is Kawhi?
They could not overcome the Nuggets.
Whoa.
I'll never get over it.
So that should be a mental flaw. Hold on, you say LeBron James is the mentally weakest superstar. Kawhi gave up 19, a 16, and a 15-point lead. So how mentally tough is he?
Looking ahead to LeBron. We got that. We got that. From game 1, looking ahead to LeBron.
So that's a mental weakness. You're not able to focus on the task at hand. You're talking about something tomorrow when you need to focus on today. Skip, KD is KD. But to think LeBron James said, oh, this is my opportunity. Skip, things have happened. We've seen Magic Johnson. Remember when 89, was that 89?
Listen, LeBron James is chilling since Kevin Durant left the Warriors. With KD joining the Brooklyn Nets, KD's back to being a true number 1 option, leading a team, quote-unquote. LeBron's chilling. I mean, if LeBron and the Lakers go against the Brooklyn Nets in the 2021 finals, LeBron's going to have a great advantage out there to win that championship. Again, Kevin Durant joined the loaded, stacked dynasty Golden State Warriors who won 73 games and who were pretty much, quote-unquote, God